On a sunny and hot Thursday night from San Marcos, Texas, it's the start of Week 2 of the WPF season. A pair of expansion franchises meet up for Game 1 of a 4-game series as the Texas Monarchs, fresh off their first win in franchise history, host the Hub City Adelitas, a team coming off a season-opening split last week. Coming to you from Bobcat Softball Stadium on the official WPF YouTube channel, Brant Freeman alongside Ty Harrington. And Ty, looking forward to the start of what should be a good series.
No, it should be. I mean, look, the weather's going to be a little bit warm. This time of year, and certainly this part of the country is going to be that way. But yes, it should be the second week of the year. Coaches still moving their lineups around, trying to get used to their team, and so it's going to be exciting.
Temperatures in the upper 90s, 97 degrees as we approach first pitch. Both now at tonight's starting pitcher, Trinity Schlotterbeck for the Monarchs in the circle. From Williamsport, Maryland, a former Florida Atlantic Owl, wrapped up her college career just about a month ago or so. So far, 2 starts into the season, not in the third innings pitched, but has given up 7 earned runs. And tonight looking for her first win of the season. As now we take a look at the Adelitas batting order. Hitters 1 through 9, leading off former Sun Belt Conference Player of the Year out of Louisiana, Sarah Bryant hits leadoff for the Adelitas. Should be followed by Lena Reboledo batting second to left. Then the shortstop McKenna Brocky batting third. The cleanup hitter at DH is Daisy Munoz batting fifth. At third base, Casey Flores, who hit a walk-off 3-run homer in the 8th inning of last week's season opener against Coastal Bend. Batting sixth at first base, Justice Perry. Batting seventh at second, Emily Bracamonte. Batting eighth, the catcher, Adriana Ramirez. And batting ninth and left is Destiny Brown. So again, the Monarchs coming in with a record of 1-3, closed out their season opening series with a win over the reigning champion Texas Smoke on Sunday. As you look at Schlotterbeck in the circle, the starting pitcher for the Monarchs on Sunday, Jaden Vickers, was the story of the game. Complete game, giving up just 2 earned runs and finished with 9 strikeouts. And Ty, you pitch like that, makes it pretty easy in your defense.
Well, you're not having to go get too many outs, right? Your defenders are relaxed. They're enjoying the game and having an opportunity of it. And usually with that many strikeouts, Brant, there's going to be soft contact, several fly balls and some probably, softer hit ground balls. And so anytime you punch out 9, your defense is enjoying it.
Meanwhile, for Hub City, as you look at head coach for the Monarchs, Candace Fenton-Bachbrader, who's also the head coach at Bowling Green out of the MAC at the Division I level. The Adelitas earned a split of their season opening series against Coastal Bend last week. Their head coach, Jamie Juarez, who's also an assistant at Cal State Fullerton, looks on as Bryant is into the box, and off we go. First pitch of the series, misses for ball 1. So again, the Adelitas won the opener against the tidal wave last week with Flores hitting a walk-off 3-run homer in the bottom of the 8th. The tidal wave then won the next 2 games, and after losing Saturday 12-3, Hub City bounced back, winning Sunday to earn a split last week at home. On the ground is short. Flaherty, the former Florida State Seminole, makes a play, and there's 1 out.
Just like that, hit the ball right down into the dirt and to the ground. Got a nice, easy high hop. Made the transition, a nice throw over to first base. And, you were talking about Coach Juarez and being from Cal State Fullerton. I was out there a couple years ago, and they had 2 softball fields side by side out there. And it's where she's probably adjusting to the weather out here right now as well.
Cal State Fullerton in Southern California, beautiful part of the country, as we see Reboledo step in. And you mentioned that you were there a couple of years ago, Ty, talking about Cal State Fullerton coaches. Well, when you were there, it was the unveiling of the Augie Garrido statue.
It was, and it was obviously for...
It's a fly ball hit towards right on the run. The catch made by Kearney, 2 outs.
Yeah, and obviously, it's such a great man that meant so much to baseball, but it was such the baseball field and the softball fields are side by side, or a circle area, and the softball fields were behind it, and it was unique. You could see and experience all of it. They had a great tournament going on. I found myself in between or before the game's going over and watching a lot of the softball.
Nobody on, 2 out for McKenna Brocky, the shortstop for Hub City. Brocky A late signee to the team, signed June 17th, former San Diego State Aztec, where she was a career .262 hitter, driving in 70 runs, and the count even 1 ball, 1 strike. Bases empty with a fly ball hit towards center. On the run, Emily Hott, and the ex-Baylor Bear can't make the play. It's off her glove, and that's going to lead to Brocky reaching second base with 2 outs.
Hott ran a long ways to kind of go catch his softball, and then it was just off. It looked like it hit off the edge of her glove, Brent, as she was reaching for it and wasn't able to hang on to it.
Good look at the replay here. Had a good jump, but just couldn't squeeze it. Extends hitting now to the Adelitas DH, Daisy Munoz. From Buena Park, California, speaking of Cal State Fullerton, 4 seasons as a Titan, and now her second year playing pro softball. And Ty, you see this, softball, baseball, an inning extends on a fielding play that wasn't quite made, and sometimes it could rattle a pitcher. We got a meeting in the circle right now.
Well, yeah, I mean, you feel like at 1 second, you feel like if she makes that play that it's going to close the inning out, now we're going to go hit, and you're out of there. Maybe you lose just a little bit of focus of what was, and now you got to look into what's going to be now. And so they're after playing as many softball games as they've played. I mean, this happened to them in their career so many times that emotionally they understand how to refocus.
So 1 ball, no strikes to Munoz. And she's ahead against Slaughterback 2-0. Three balls, no strikes to Munoz, 3-time All-Big West player. Cal State Fullerton. A lot of college experience, 228 games. Big power numbers as well. 32 career homers and 148 RBI. And on 4 pitches, she'll take first base.
I think at that point when it was 3-0, she wasn't going to throw anything in the hitting area in such a good offensive count. You get behind like that, you're willing to maybe get them to chase, and if not, move to the next hitter.
So 2 on, 2 out for Casey Flores from El Paso. 5 years playing college softball, 3 at UTEP. 2 of those, or final 2 at Division II Lubbock Christian. And now she's an assistant coach for her alma mater. On the ground to the right side. Should end the inning, and it does. And the Adelitas strand 2. An error and a walk, but no damage done as we go to the bottom of the first inning. You're watching Women's Pro Fast Pitch on the official WPF YouTube channel. And welcome back to San Marcos as we go to the bottom of the first inning. A look at Allie Light from San Diego State. This past season with the Aztecs went 12-9 in the circle, ERA of 2.76. 69 strikeouts and more than 124 innings pitched. Helped lead the Aztecs to the NCAA tournament for a 3rd consecutive season. Now the batting order for the Monarchs is a hit for the first time. Briley St. Clair will bat leadoff here in the bottom of the first in left field, followed by Kylie Sand batting second in the order. Then Sarah Bannifer, the ex-Texas State Bobcat, bats 3rd. Lily Piper, the pro vet, will bat cleanup 4th in the order, followed by Kelly Torres, the catcher, formerly of Duke, Batting 6, Emily Hott. Batting 7, the DH, Sona Halajan. Batting 8th and right, the former Georgia Bulldog, Jada Kearney. And batting 9th, the shortstop, Devin Flaherty. All right, so we go to the bottom of the first inning. At the top of the inning, the Adelitas put on a couple of base runners with 2 outs, but nobody scores. And here come the Monarchs up at the plate. Briley St. Clair will lead things off against Adelitas. 1 ball and no strikes. Jenna Bouillon is calling balls and strikes behind the plate here tonight. Again, this Monarch team coming off a win on Sunday. Pretty impressive when you consider the fact they lost the night before in heartbreaking fashion, a 13-inning, 4-hour marathon. The team bounced back the next day and found a way to win.
Yeah, that's a doubleheader in itself almost.
It was a tremendous pitching duel that we saw in extra innings. So Samantha Schau for the Texas Smoke came into the game in the 5th inning. Meanwhile, for the Monarchs, it was Aspen Wesley came into the game in the 4th. And there were no more pitching substitutions after that. Schau went 9 innings. Wesley went 8 2/3. And neither was giving in. There was only 1 run scored in that game. Or only 2, rather, scored after the 5th inning. Three and 1 to St. Clair. That takes a strike, fills the count, 3-2. St. Clair out to a 2 for 13 start to her pro career. So, Ty, you missed it, but we got into the conversation during the game the day after about the longest softball game in NCAA history. We were inspired with as long as our game went. You won't believe this.
I might.
Okay. So it was 1991. As that's taken for ball 4, St. Clair on with a walk. Utah and Creighton in the WAC tournaments, a 1-0 game won by Creighton in 31 innings.
Oh, my.
Now, that was a tournament game. And
oh, my.
because Creighton won, it forced a second game to be played to determine the championship. That game went 25 innings.
Oh, my goodness. 50. I got bad math.
Innings.
It's 50. Yeah. Oh, my goodness. That's an afternoon at the ballpark. That's a month at the ballpark.
Kylie Sand batting second of the order. She had that huge hit in that extra inning game. One of the big hits, a bases clearing double in the 5th. But the Monarchs would not score after that. For the season, 2 for 11. Product out of Rutgers. Just wrapped up her Big Ten career.
Well, Brandon, I think Briley St. Clair tells you what kind of hitter she is. I mean, she was willing to sit in and take. That was a close pitch on the 3-2. And from a leadoff position, you gotta love having a hitter in there that will take a walk, not necessarily chase every time. Doesn't have to hit every time. Very patient, draws out a lot of pitches, and it earns a walk.
Got a good leadoff first base as well, or a good jump, I should say. 2-1 the count to Kylie Sand. Rutgers' all-time leader in batting average and runs scored. Hit .418 this year with the Scarlet Knights. On the outer half of the called strike, and the count evens 2-2 with Vanderford winning on deck. Sand pokes out one foul. We'll do it again. So I mentioned Sand, again, hailing from Big Ten country. And Ty knows this, covering college baseball for so long and having been a part of the game as a player and a coach. Big Ten teams and non-conference play, the season begins in February, and the same stands true for softball as well. Therefore, those Big Ten teams travel a lot early part of the season. They don't play at home because there's still a lot of cold weather. So a lot of travel and non-conference play, but now with the expansion of the Big Ten, as that's popped up in the air to left, and Rebolado will make the catch shy of the track for the first out. So the additions of Oregon, Washington, USC, and UCLA, now you're talking about really long trips as well within conference play for these Big Ten teams.
Well, it's going to be interesting to see for all the sports, but your football sports where you're playing multiple games in a week, and Tuesday games leading up to those trips, what that travel is going to look like for them, and do teams go out on a weekend and stay on 2-week stints? And as you look at ball one, and possibly, Brant, too, you'll see, since there's so many classes online now, maybe teams do stay for 2 weeks, go out to the West Coast or whatever that might be, since it is such intense travel.
Batting now, Sarah Vanderford. Got her pro career off to a good start last week. Here pops one up. It's playable, and the catch not made by Brown. The ball she should have squeezed, but it lands in foul territory, and Vanderford stays alive.
Well, one of those things about being in a new ballpark, and Brent, you and I know this area so well, that the wind blows out of the south-southeast this time of year. Everything feeds back to the field. It looks like it's going to be out, and it just kind of keeps gradually falling back towards the field, as that one did as well.
Vanderford again wrapped up her Texas State career as the most outstanding player in the Sun Belt Conference Tournament. Played for one of Ty's all-time favorite people, longtime head coach Ricky Woodard. More than 800 wins in her career now. In fact, Coach Woodard has 2 of her players from his 2024 team now playing in the WPF. Vanderford here from the Monarchs, and star pitcher Jessica Mullins with the Smoke.
And I saw Jessica Mullins, high school coach, yesterday at a convention, who also played baseball for me, and Aaron Fuller. And so Coach Fuller, who coached her in high school, and I think they've had a handful of Barbers Hill players that have come here as well. It's a very successful high school program here in the state of Texas, and they've had quite a connection of players coming from there to here at Texas State, and going back to Coach Woodard. I mean, look, I think, I've said it many times, she's one of the greatest coaches in history of this university at Texas State. And I was always convinced she could coach anything. I mean, you could go tell her to coach baseball, football, basketball, golf. That ball's driven out.
It is to left center, and it's gone. Sarah Vanderford with her first pro home run, and the Monarchs are on top 2-0.
I tell you what, just as soon as we were continuing the conversation, she gets after that one and knocks it out to left center. And I mean, it was a no-doubter as soon as it left her bat.
A pull side power rally, and no doubt almost went clear the second fence here at Bobcat Softball Stadium. And Vanderford has put her team on top 2-0. What a start for her pro career, by the way, with that homer. She's now 6 for 15. 5 RBI, 5 games in her pro career.
I'm sure as it left her bat, she's hit many of them in this ballpark via game and or practice.
Base is empty. Just the one out as Lily Piper bats here for the Monarchs. Hit their first homer of the season on opening day last Thursday. Counting here from light, 1 ball, 1 strike. That ball headed towards left field, and a diving catch made by Rebolado. Good play defensively in the outfield for out number 2.
Oh, I tell you what a great play. And one of the hardest line drives to catch, Brent, is the one right at you when you got to leave your feet and catch it with your fingers pointed up, trying to catch it and protect your fingers after you catch it and not roll your wrist. And I mean, it was a tremendous catch in left field.
Robs the pro veteran of a base hit with 2 outs. The base is empty. Here comes Kelly Torres. That's in there for a strike, 0-1. Good handful of WPF players just wrapped up their college careers, several of which did so in Oklahoma City. In the World Series, Torres one of those. Duke, which has been around since just 2018, with a run to OKC in the Women's College World Series about a month ago. In fact, one of the big moments from opening weekend in the WPF last weekend was Torres getting a pinch hit two-run double against her former Duke teammate Jayla Wright in the 5th inning on Sunday. That ball drilled to left, and that's off the wall. That's a fair ball. Torres on her way to second. Has to put on the brakes. She'll settle for a long single.
I got to be honest with you, Brent, when Torres hit that, I thought it was going to get out of here on the line because she caught every piece of it and hooks it towards left field. I mean, it's just a foot or so, yeah, maybe just a foot, just shy of going out of left field for a home run.
That just missed the foul pole, too, just underneath it. A long single for Torres brings up Emily Hott. That's in there for strike 0-1. It's funny, in college baseball, you got, obviously teammates that go on to play in the pros. It's rare for them to meet up once again as professionals, as adversaries. But here in the college game, the softball game, I should say, we saw several ex-college teammates face off against one another last week.
Well, you were talking earlier, too, about the softball World Series, college World Series. I mean, I became a huge fan years and years and years ago watching it, and just to see how much it's grown now in popularity. And, I mean, it's just been a ton of fun to watch.
The ground ball to short, charged by Brocky. Throw to first base is in time. And that'll do it for the Monarchs in the bottom of the first. But Sarah Vanderford with a 2-run bomber, first as a pro, has put the Monarchs on top of the Adelitas early, 2-0 as we go to the second. Well, the Monarchs are on top 2-0 courtesy of WPF rookie Sarah Vanderford, her first pro home run, and did not miss it.
Well, she knows the surroundings well enough, and I mean, she didn't miss it. She got every bit of it and got in behind it and put a really good swing, powerful swing. And again, going back to what we were talking about earlier, there's no telling how many, just through the course of inter-squad BPs and live games, how many she just has hit out of this ballpark in that similar area.
She's the all-time Texas State leader in career home runs. As we head to the top of the second, 2-0 Monarchs on top, and a 2-0 lead now for starting pitcher Trinity Schlotterbeck, getting ready for her second inning of work. She'll face batters 6, 7, and 8 for the Adelitas: Justice Perry, Emily Bracamonte, and Adriana Ramirez. So Justice Perry, the leadoff batter from Prior Lake, Minnesota, played her college softball at Auburn. and is currently on the coaching staff at Swarthmore College. Just closed out their second season, or her second season with them. I'm sure Ty's a former college player turned coach. You can appreciate that transition.
Yeah, I mean, look, I walked off the field in Omaha, Nebraska, and in the College World Series, and went and coached guys that were on my team than other teams, and one of which ended up being the hero of the World Series that year in '87, Paul Carey, who hit a grand slam off Ben McDonald, and I ended up coaching him 4 weeks later at the Cape.
Three balls, one strike to Perry. Bracamante awaits on deck. A leadoff walk, the second walk given up by Slaughterback. And that's the base runner to start the inning for the Adelitas here in the second. Well, leadoff walks, tough for a pitcher, tough for the defense. Offensively, could provide a spark for any inning. Bunt put down by Bracamante. Throw back to first by Vanderford is there. On the sacrifice, Perry moves to second base, and there's one out.
I'll play a little small ball to get the inning started. After you get the leadoff hitter on, we're going to move over to sacrifice bunt. Nicely done, executed on both ends.
One away, that'll bring up Adriana Ramirez from Alhambra, California. Played her college softball at McNeese out of Lake Charles in the Southland Conference. And Ramirez takes strike one. You've been to Lake Charles a few times.
I have indeed. A couple times when I wanted to, and probably a couple times I shouldn't have. And it's going to, but it was always a lot of fun. I can tell you that, either coaching or.
That ball shot down the line and left and foul. Nothing in two.
Or playing golf and going to the casinos, and it is a really unique and fun town. You know, I was talking about the weather, and I was kind of kidding at first, but there's a lot of West Coast players and coaches involved in the game right now, and the heat here is different. I mean, it's got to be a challenge for them to get used to it as well.
A swing and a miss, and that is strikeout number one for Slaughterback at out number two of the inning.
Right fielder, number 12, Destiny Brown.
So, runner second, two outs for Destiny Brown. Brown from Macomb, Mississippi, played her college softball at Southern Miss before the Golden Eagles made the move to the Sun Belt. All their college softball played in Conference USA. Final year at Southern Miss, Brown at 366, OPS over 1,000, with 8 homers and 27 RBI. Back in 2022, and ahead 3 balls and no strikes. That's in there, 3-1. So Slaughterback, struck out moments ago. Didn't have many of those. There are 2 starts last week. In fact, Slaughterback only 1 in more than 9 innings of work in her 2 starts against the Smoke. Ground ball hit towards short. Played well by Flaherty, and will go to the bottom of the second inning. Leadoff walk does not lead to any damage. In the top of the second, we head to the bottom half of the frame. Monarchs 2, Adelitas nothing. You're watching Women's Pro Fast Pitch on the WPF YouTube channel. What a beautiful, sunny Thursday night here in Central Texas. San Marcos, located just between Austin and San Antonio. This Bobcat softball stadium, the home of Texas State softball, the 2024 Sunbelt Conference Tournament champions. We go to the bottom of the second inning, 2-0. Monarchs on top. This facility also home to a good chunk of the WPF season. Home games for both the Texas Smoke and the Texas Monarchs this year. The Smoke are on the road at Coastal Bend this weekend in Corpus Christi. And the Monarchs, of course, hosting the Adelitas this weekend as we go to the bottom of inning number 2 with Sona Halajan hitting leadoff here for the Monarchs. Halajan 0 for 3 at the plate this season. Grounds out one foul, a ball and a strike. You just got a good look at Bobcat Softball Stadium, renovated about 15 years ago in 2009, and it coincided with the renovation of the facility located right behind this one, Bobcat Ballpark, where the baseball team plays. And Ty, of course, you were the head coach of that program then, and both your facility and softballs underwent changes at the same time.
Yeah, it was so much fun every day walking over. I know Coach Woodard and her team felt the same way too. I mean, it just, each day you would come in and there'd be something new built, and then it just, you know, as time went on, you could just see the transformation. And now with the renovations after it was done, I mean, all the additions, the indoor hitting facility and center field, the baseball side of an extension of the.
That ball rocked to left. That's a base hit. Gets all the way to the wall. And again, a long single for the Monarchs. Halajan with a base hit to left starts off the bottom of the second.
Well, I'll tell you what, Halajan jumped right in the middle of this one, too. It was a line drive, and it really made the left fielder kind of free. She couldn't come in and try to make it. It was hit so hard and sinking, she wasn't able to try to come and dive and make the catch. I mean, she just rifles this ball to left field.
That is the third hit of the day for the Monarchs. It brings up Jada Kearney. They just closed out her career at Athens with the Georgia Bulldogs, a team that went to the Super Regionals this year. Her career at Georgia hit .343, massive power numbers, 60 homers, a career OPS over 1,100. One ball and then one strike.
You know, I think I'll go back in my mind, and I think you'll know this. Every SEC team made a regional this year.
Yeah.
In softball.
Yeah. And you know this too, the final between Texas and Oklahoma, technically this year, Big 12, but essentially, you know, that's the future of the SEC as well, with the additions in about 5 days.
Yep.
Of Texas and OU. So as good as the SEC was this year in softball and has been, you're adding 2 of the more dominant programs over the last 20-plus years as Kearney strikes out.
Oh, I mean, it's going to, yeah, I mean, you think of, like what you're saying, how many are already and how good they have already been, and then you're adding 8-time national champion, Oklahoma, and then, you know, Texas as well, who's been to the Women's College World Softball World Series, you know, multiple times as well, and certainly a program that's on the rise again.
So we've gone from the SEC to the ACC here, and Devin Flaherty for the Monarchs. Florida State, 5 years in Tallahassee. You know, those 2 conferences were the only 2 represented in the Men's World Series in Omaha.
Yeah, and they dominated the top 20 almost all year long in baseball. And there would be 1 or 2 West Coast teams that would slide in there, 1 Pac-12 team that would slide in and out. But the majority of it was SEC and ACC driven, and it certainly ended that way as well.
2-0 to Flaherty. Swung on, lines out to center for a base hit. Halajan to second base. So a couple of singles sandwiched around the strikeout of Kearney. 2 on, 1 out the top of the order coming up here for the Monarchs.
Well, Devin Flaherty does a really good job of getting their hands inside this. Their swing and driving this just to the right of the shortstop overhead into center field. But I mean, just a textbook swing of flushing the barrel to the softball.
So back at the top to Briley St. Clair, another SEC product from Mississippi State. And like so many Monarchs player, play to the NCAA tournament. Bunt put down, and that's a base hit for St. Clair. Loads of bases, still just 1 out in the inning.
Oh, what a really, really good drag bunt. Just softly off the end of the bat, just rolling it in, kind of in the area between all 3 defenders, the pitcher, first baseman, and third baseman. We'll get another look at it. Watch it just right off the end of the bat. Kills it right there. Tough for anybody to come up and make a play in time as she is speeding down first baseline.
And no chance for the Adelitas to make a play. Adelita with visitation in the circle here for the Adelitas. Trying to get things going here. Trying to get out of this inning. Only down 2. Monarchs on top 2-0, and the bases are loaded, and the heart of the order is coming up here. Kylie Sand is at the plate now. On deck is Vanderford, who homered in the first inning. And again, with the bases loaded in a big spot last Saturday, Sand delivered a bases clearing double. Facing Allie Light from Lexington, South Carolina. Just named first team All Mountain West Conference about a month ago. 1 ball to no strikes. Light and the Aztecs went on to play in the Los Angeles Regional hosted by UCLA. We fall behind 2-0. And that strike zone gets smaller and smaller if you're lying there in the circle.
It does, and Sand's got herself into a good hitting count, and you'll see a lot of times good hitters at this moment are looking for one spot, one area to try to pull the trigger on a pitch, whether it be middle in. She recognized that one was going to be in, just couldn't quite get the barrel there in time, but they'll start looking areas, not always pitches. They'll, like good hitters will start looking in just certain areas, and whether it be a fastball or change up or something secondary, and they'll keep looking in that area. And if it falls in that window, they're more apt to put a good swing on it.
Holoshot at third, Flaherty at second, St. Clair at first base. Heart of the order batting for the Monarchs. 1 out to left field, and that's off the glove of Rebolledo, falls in. That's going to score 1 run. Holoshot is in, and the base is again loaded, and it's 3-0 Monarchs.
She does a good job of staying with it, Brent, and just kind of serves it over the third baseman and shortstop's head. Not quite where the left fielder came running in. It was just off the end of her glove as well. She was playing in tight in left field. You'll see it just off the edge of her glove. And then almost came up and threw the runner at third base out, which would have been a force play.
It is a base hit, not an error. Charge to Rebolledo. And out of the plate, Vanderford. So there you see Sand, now 4 RBI in her pro career at first base. St. Clair to second, Flaherty now at third. And here is Vanderford. Swings and fouls that one away. Well, she was ready to jump on a pitch early there against Light.
She recognized the pitch in and was trying to hit it down the left field line, but it was just in there far enough that she wasn't able to get the barrel to it.
Brought up former teammates facing one another, and you also mentioned Jessica Mullins. Well, Vanderford had the chance to face her former teammate a few times last week.
Well, I'm sure they've faced each other plenty of times in inter-squad games and practices, and Both of them such good players and great competitors.
Lights 1-1. Good pitch on the edge of the strike zone, 1-2. Vanderford, the 6th batter of the inning. And again, 1 run in so far. One, 2 from Light. Vanderford with a take on a pitch that didn't really miss his zone a whole lot. 2-2.
Wow, that's tremendous plate recognition. I'm like you, Brant. I thought that ball was close to being a strike, and it was off the edge of the plate. With 2 strikes, you always were trying to protect, but it just shows you the type of plate presence that she has and recognition of the strike zone.
Grounds it foul, stays alive. Texas State's all-time leader, not just in home runs, but in doubles, RBI, and total bases. One of the great hitters in the history of this ballpark.
Man, that's saying a lot, too. I mean, they've had a lot of great players here over the years, and certainly in Coach Woodard's tenure. And offense is something they've always been able to swing the bats.
On the ground is short. Only play is at third, and it's made on the fielder's choice, but it does bring in another run. A 3 RBI night for Vanderford, now 4-0 lead, and now there's 2 outs.
Well, you don't see that play all the time. The shortstop's coming in, shuffles the ball like an option from a quarterback, shovels it over to the third baseman for the force out, but it was going to be really and truly her best opportunity to get an out. There was not going to be able to get a double play.
Here's Piper, first pitch, swings, skies it to right, and the catch made by Kearney, or by Brown, I beg your pardon, to end the inning. In the bottom of the second, 2 more runs score for the Monarchs. They've doubled their lead as we go to the third. 4-0, and on top of the Adelitas here in San Marcos. A couple of crooked numbers for the Monarchs in this game against the Adelitas as they make their first ever visit to San Marcos. Monarchs 2 in the first, 2 in the seconds. Sarah Vanderford at third base, a 3 RBI night, including a 2-run homer. Her team on top 4-zip as we start the top of the third inning. The Monarchs coached by Candace Fitton-Bachbrader, the head coach of the Adelitas, Jamie Juarez. And again, also both coaches coaching in the collegiate ranks. Fitton-Bachbrader out of alma mater at Bowling Green, played for the Falcons in the early 2000s. And Jimmy Juarez on the staff at Cal State Fullerton for a team that went 39-18 and reached the finals of the Stanford Regional. Really good softball program in Southern California. Well, Jamie Juarez was a star pitcher at Ohio State. She mans third base right now. We go to the top of the third. And coming up for the Adelitas, top of the order, Sierra Bryan leads off and looks at ball 1 from Trinity Slaughterback.
Well, you know, what I love about it from the coaching perspective is you're getting to coach year-round. I mean, you're improving your craft. I mean, as a coach, you're always supposed to be learning all the time, and I love it. I admire him from coming out here and, you know, moving away from home, even though you're on the road all the time, recruiting as it is, and but to come out here and learn more about the game and to keep coaching, and I think it's awesome.
Sierra Bryant 0 for 1 tonight and make it 0 for 2. Grounds out to the first baseman Piper. And what a way for Slaughter back here in the third.
Number 99, Lena Robledo.
Brings up Lena Robledo from Riverside, California, hailing from Utah Valley. That's where she played her college softball. A lot of pro softball for her here in the calendar year 2024. This helped lead Charros de Jalisco to the inaugural Mexican Softball League Championship back in March. And a number of Adelitas players played in the LSM back in the winter.
Well, you know what that tells me? She loves to play. She loves to play softball. I'm going to look at it and play multiple leagues and play year-round and to do something she loves to do.
That ball headed towards right center. Going to dump in for a base hit and a big turn from Robledo on her way to second with a one-out double.
And doing something she's really good at, and that's hitting doubles and getting base hits. Coming from the playing year-round, as soon as we say it, she hits a double to right center, and she was doing it out of the box. She was going to second base in her mind. Came out hustling and got there.
And how about the opposite field power as well from Robledo? A ball that kind of headed towards the inside part of the plate. She was able to jam that to right center. That's well hit, but on the run, Kearney makes the catch to the warning track. Long fly for Brocky is a productive out as now Robledo moves to third.
Yeah, going back to Robledo, I mean, what she was doing, you're right, Brent, that ball was tracking in on her hands and shows her ability to get her hands, get the barrel inside there, but also the strength to drive it out to right center.
2 outs for Daisy Munoz. Falls behind nothing in 1. Another player that played in the Mexican League earlier this year for the Veracruz Eagles. La Liga de Veracruz, as they're known in the Mexican League. Foul back, 1 ball and 2 strikes to Munoz.
I just love the idea that they're you know, we don't know. I don't know the type of, finances they're getting paid to play in this league and different things like that, but they're getting to play year round. They're getting to do something they love to do. They're getting to, they put so much time and effort, travel ball all the way to high school and then into college. And I just think it's incredible to get a chance to continue to play and play a game that they truly enjoy playing and having teammates and being in a dugout as long as you can.
The conversation that Haley McKay and I had, McKay, a former Division I player here at Texas State. That's a foul ball. The count remains 2-2. Is that every one of these players had a unique journey to get to this point. Nobody's journey was exactly the same, right? Maybe you started playing T-ball at 4. Maybe you didn't get going until you were 12. But the bottom line is all these players found a way to get here. That ball shot towards left and hooking, just foul.
Well, just foul is right, Brent. That ball was by, maybe a foot of hitting the foul pole and being a home run. But going back to what you were just talking about, yeah. I mean, some people start earlier than others. And what's even more exciting for the players is everybody coming from different places, right, to get here. And, they'll be able to take this and your teammates become such special people in your life in any sport, but particularly when you're in a dugout, with your friends and your teammates, you learn so much about each other. And I think it's incredible that there's so many from so many places, different places.
Mm-hmm. Old foul by Munoz. Yeah, you look at the rosters, and you see a number of Division I universities, whether they be Power 5, Group of 5, in some cases lower level, Division II, NAIA, in all different parts of the country, in some cases outside the country in that dugout. As Munoz draws a walk, going to put runners in the corners. 2 outs now as Casey Flores comes up.
Well, you know, the other piece of that, so if you're a young man, that you can pull up baseball on every channel to watch, to learn more about the game, and to, you know, look up and say, oh, I want to be like, and for this right now, for this to be, you know, on TV and live streaming, and for young girls to get a chance to watch softball this time of year, the college game's over, to continue, you know, watching how somebody does something. We were just talking about, you know, Adelitas and they're getting their hands inside that in the strength, and watching that, and watching some of the great plays that have already been made by Flaherty, and just, I mean, look, it'd be fun for young, she pulling it up on YouTube and watching the, you know, during the night, and, you know, instead of maybe watching another show or hanging out with their friends, or maybe all their friends are piled up watching the game tonight.
Strike 1 to Casey Flores, 0 for 1 with a ground out in this game. Again, talking about some players, not all D1 products. In the case of Flores, a Division II All-American. First team Division II All-American back in 2023 at Lubbock Christian. 19 homers, 64 RBI that season.
Yeah, and I'm going to assume she played for Darren Hayes, whose dad, Larry Hayes, was a longtime coach at Lubbock Christian baseball and softball.
And jam shot. Vanderford knows his park well and makes the catch in foul ground. And with that, the Adelitas strand 2 in the inning. A double and a walk, but no run score. Vanderford, a nice play at third base. We head to the bottom of the 3rd inning. Monarchs 4, Adelitas nothing here in San Marcos. As we go to the bottom of the 3rd inning, the Adelitas from Hub City have made a change in the circle. 2 innings to the starter, Allie Light. Gives up 4 earned runs off 6 hits. She'll hand the ball off now to Lexi Hanley, former Ohio State Buckeye. Through 24 complete games in 2022, her final collegiate season, most in program history. That last year in Columbus, an ERA of 2.52. 225 innings of work, and Ty, you'll love this. She hails from Ohio, from Akron. Her high school, St. Vincent St. Mary, same as LeBron James, whose son Bronny was just drafted to the Lakers.
Imagine that. Imagine he got drafted to the Lakers today. Hard to believe, wasn't it?
55th overall at USC, and have the chance to see the first ever father-son combo play in the NBA. We have seen it in Major League Baseball with the Griffeys. Now I got a chance to see it with the Jameses in the NBA.
Well, it'll be fun to watch. I mean, yeah, you know, it'll be fun to watch the interaction. You know, some people are like, oh, it's this and it's that setup or that, and they had to do it. I didn't have to do it, but I think it's going to be fun to watch the interaction between the two, to be honest with you.
Certainly.
I mean, you know, sometimes I guess you could, you know, go play golf with your son and something, interact like some of the pro golfers maybe. I've seen that before, but not in basketball, obviously, and for the first time, it's going to be exciting to watch.
Bunt put down by Torres, coming over from first base and making the play, pairing, but Bracamane covering her base at first, and the exchange not in time. Torres beats it out for her second base hit.
Yeah, she bunts that ball in that Bermuda Triangle kind of over to the right side, right of the pitcher, and then you can see as she's bunting it, Brent, she's getting such a great start towards first base with her momentum, and pushes it, makes the first baseman field it, and that puts a lot of pressure on the second baseman to get there in time.
Leadoff runner has reached in all 3 innings now for the Monarchs, and yes, in the first 2 innings, that leadoff batter would come home to score. As Emily Hott now faces Handley here in the 3rd. Discuss Handley's time at Ohio State. And again, that final year of hers, excellent in 2022, a couple of years ago. 271 strikeouts that season. It broke a program record previously held by Jamie Juarez, her head coach now with the Adelitas.
That's it. Whatever you can do, I can do better.
Yeah. Were you the type when you set a record you hoped one day somebody would break it, or you wanted that to be yours forever?
Well, there wasn't a whole lot of those, so I'm not really sure just how to answer that question.
I just wanted to hear you say that.
I know that, but I'm actually searching into my mind right now, thinking, well, what record it was, and if it was a record, it probably wasn't the right kind. But yeah, I think people. Oh, that ball's driven in the right center.
It is. Hot with a base hit all the way to the wall. On her way to third base, rounding there. Torres to the way to the plate. And she's in without a throw. Emily Hott with an RBI double. And it's 5-0 Monarchs.
Well, I tell you what, she gets after this. It pitch in the middle, in towards her. Does a great job of getting that barrel to the softball and then driving it. I mean, absolutely driving this ball to right center.
Good piece of hitting there by Hott. Torres scoring. And the RBI for Hott, her first as a pro. Just wrapped up her career at Baylor. 5-0 lead. Runner on and nobody out for Halajan. Ahead, a ball and no strikes.
Well, I'm sure Emily Hott's had a handful of hits in this ballpark, too, with Baylor having played here in her past.
Best season at Baylor was her final one in 2024. Career highs in hits and RBI. Longtime Bear as well. 5 seasons and 230 starts in Waco. That's in tight. 2 balls and no strikes. I know a record you do have, by the way. It's a good one. I'm not here to make fun of you.
Okay.
As we await the 2-0 pitch to Halajan. Ball 3. All-time wins record at Texas State as head baseball coach.
Well, yeah, I didn't think about that. Yeah, I'll take that one. I hope somebody breaks it someday. I truly do. I'm rooting for him. I'm rooting for the guy that's there right now. I hope he does. And a long time beyond that, somebody else that does it. That'd be one I would love to see somebody break. And
a take all the way by Halajan, a 4-pitch walk, and the first 3 have reached against Handley here in the 3rd.
You know, and I was just thinking about, we were talking about young players watching these games on TV. You know what it gives their former college coaches, so, you know, a chance at night to relax a little bit, turn it on TV and stream it and watch it, and then talk to their recruits about, hey, I'm sitting here watching my former players playing, you know, in the pro league, got to turn it on. And but there's a lot to this and what this league is, and accessible to a lot of people to watch and come out and watch it, but then also watch it, you know, on a streaming.
After a miss in the strike zone by Handley facing Kearney, meeting with her catcher Ramirez. But a tough outing for Handley since coming in for light. Single, double, and a walk. Runner second, first and second, nobody out. In there for strike 1-1. Long college journey for handling the circle. The 1 year in Columbus with the Buckeyes. 3 seasons at Auburn. Before that, began her career in her hometown at Akron. 2-1 the count to Kearney.
Well, I mean, that's modern day college athletics now. I mean, with the way the portal is set up, you're going to see more and more with, you know, players going to multiple schools and universities in their career. And, you know, some people obviously have different feelings about it. I personally think if it's what we all do what's available to us, and it certainly is now, and as long as at the end they get their education and you get to experience multiple, you know, universities in your lifetime, it just has changed. I mean, nowadays there's going to be times when you're going to be reading, you know, 3 schools and 4 schools from somebody into their 5th year or 4th year or their senior year somewhere, and you know, some going from some places to get an opportunity to go play, you know, on a World Series team or a national championship team.
I swear I saw a stat the other day that Campbell University, a great mid-major baseball program, something like 30 players of theirs jumped into the portal.
Yeah, the coach left.
Right.
Yeah, the coach left,
Yeah.
and yeah, I mean, you know, nobody's immune to it. I mean, you know, Texas A&M just played in the national championship game. Their coach leaves, and they had 12, you know, players get in the portal as well.
A walk to Kearney, loads of bases, still nobody out. Bottom of the order, rather, batting is Flaherty. The 9-hole hitter comes up. The softball, of course, not immune to that either. We just chronicled the career trajectory for Hanley. We talked at length last week about a major coaching change at the mid-major level. Jerry Glasgow of Louisiana leaving that program to take over Texas Tech. Following his departure, a good number of Cajun players, including the Sun Belt Player of the Year, jumping into the transfer portal. Strike one to Flaherty, who singled off of Lights back in the second.
Her swing last time up was impressive. Being able to get a barrel inside, that ball to right center, but then she's made a couple 2 good plays at shortstop today as well.
Off the outside corner, 1-1. Now, you and I talked to Ricky Woodard earlier. You and I, of course, have known her for a long while now. What made her season this year so remarkable, in addition to winning a championship, which in of itself not easy to do, was the fact she had the entire roster from the season prior return.
Yeah.
Which is a rarity now in today's college athletic scope. Sky to the air to left, shallow fly ball, and none of the runners could advance. Big first out there for Hanley.
Well, I think what you're trying to say is that, you know, in the modern day of what we were just talking about, players are able to go from school to school to school based on whatever they, you know, maybe they're not playing enough, or maybe they just want to experience another place, or, you know, whatever it might be. But then also it talks about the type of culture they have here at Texas State and what she's been able to do by retaining the players want to be here. They want to play for her. They want to play for that university. And so there's a lot of pieces that go into that. And it is a credit to her as a coach.
Back at the top of the order for the Monarchs, leading 5-0 here in the bottom of the 3rd inning. Briley St. Clair has been on twice, a walk, a bunt single, and a run scored. A lot of postseason experience while playing in Mississippi State. 14 NCAA tournament games. That's off the glove of Ramirez. All the runners advance and a run scores. Hot to the plate. 6-0 on the wild pitch.
And now that certainly opens up an opportunity too. St. Clair wants to bunt again, you know, with no force at home. Creates a little bit more offensive ideas or opportunities for her.
Talked about those 14 NCAA tournament games for St. Clair, second most in Mississippi State history. She has worked the count even here against Hanley, 2-2. Kylie Sand waits on deck. 2 on, 1 away, and St. Clair lays off. That'll fill the count 3-2.
I think they're trying to clarify the count.
Yeah, that's our plate umpire, Jenna Bouillon, with the mask off. She's talking to our third base umpire, Lennon Baptiste. Over at first today is Paul Boyd. And Bouillon and Baptiste still talking, and she's signaling 2-2. Should be 2 balls, 2 strikes.
I think sometimes when there's a strike wild pitch or strike pass ball that gets confused with the possibility of it being a ball instead of it being, because she did swing at it.
I think that's exactly what happened there. Yeah. That's definitely a ball. 3-2. Now we're back to a full
Now we're
count.
back, right? One pitch away from getting right back to it.
Now the full count to Sinclair from Handley. Fouled it away. We'll see it again. For the Monarchs, a team again loaded with talent. Bulk of the roster, though, new to pro softball. 13 of the 17 players in the first year in the WPF. But so many of these players have played in several high-leverage situations. As we said, regionals, supers, Oklahoma City, you name it. Full count, foul away again. For the Adelitas, it's a mix of pro players in their first year and those with experience, to include 8 that played in the Mexican Softball League back in the winter. And there, look at her first train of the night. Comes about an hour after first pitch. All Monarchs here in the third inning, on top 6-0, full count. Looks at strike 3. First strikeout for Hanley, out number 2.
It looked like it surprised St. Clair just a little bit. Hanley coming up with a really good quality pitch. Getting a really, really tough St. Clair out. We'll get another look at it just off the edge. As you could see the excitement out of Ramirez.
It looked like St. Clair knew it too. 2 on, 2 away for Kylie Sand. Been a productive day for her so far, 1 for 2 with an RBI back in the second. Top of the order, very productive so far for the Monarchs. First ever series meeting between these two franchises. They will meet twice more this season. July 11th through the 14th here in San Marcos, and again the final week of the regular season, August 8th through the 11th in Hub City. In Lubbock. Down for a ball, 2-0 now to Kylie Sand. And both teams tonight trying to piece together their first ever winning streak as members of the WPF. 2 of the 3 expansion teams in the league this year, along with Coastal Bend. All the way to the backstop, and coming home to score, Halajan. 7-0 Monarchs.
I'll tell you what, Halajan did a really good job of breaking on this as soon as it got away, because there's not a whole lot of distance between home plate and the backstop, and it happens in a hurry, but she read it quickly and was able to get a great break on it and able to score.
Second wild pitch of the inning from Hanley. Both have been high. And we'll see if Santa has the green light here with first base open and a 3-0 count. Instead, she'll take a strike.
I think she'll be swinging now on a 3-1 count, but selective. Knowing that you got Vanderford coming right in behind you offensively with one homer on the night already.
Doesn't swing, but takes ball 4. That is the third walk of the inning surrendered by Hanley. It also extends the inning with runners on base now to the Monarchs' best hitter early part of the season, Sarah Vanderford. And so a troublesome spot if you're Hanley, and Vanderford's the 8th batter of the inning. 3 runs already in, 2 on, 2 out for Vanderford, who's 1 for 2 with the 2-run homer. Part of a 3 RBI night for the former Texas State Bobcat. In tight, Sand takes off for second. And the throw cut off with the shortstop, Brocky, making sure that Kearney stays put at third, and she does. But now for Vanderford, a base hit could drive in 2.
Yeah, and certainly also, I mean, if you look at it, if you get behind in the count, you've got a base open at that point too. You could, move back to the next hitter if you so choose, if you fell behind in the count.
2 balls and no strikes now to Vanderford. Finished her college career hitting .366 in her final season at Texas State, 7th highest in program history. And was named first team All-Sun Belt for the 2nd time in her career. Hitters count. Vanderford smashes a base hit to left, running third and coming home, and that play is made by the catcher Ramirez. Tags out Sand, but Vanderford drives in another. Kearney scores to make it 8-0, and Vanderford has a 4 RBI night. 3 innings in the books, all Monarchs on top of the Adelitas in the series opener. Sarah Vanderford, couple of hits and 4 RBIs so far. With that, we go to the 4th. Monarchs on top of the Adelitas, on top big, 8-0 in the official WPF YouTube channel. We're back after this. And welcome back to Bobcat Softball Stadium. It is 8-0 Monarchs on top, and a big night for the rookie Sarah Vanderford. I say rookie, certainly not in the game, just to the league. 4 RBI night for Vanderford, and to start her pro career, already up to 7 RBI in 4+ games. At the plate, she's now 7 for 16 to start her pro career. That's not too bad.
Well, it's translated. I mean, from college, being such a successful college hitter and player at a high level here at Texas State on this campus, and it's transitioning all the way into the professional side of it now. First
pitch of the inning is a hit by pitch. Perry is on for the second time as Slaughterbeck hits her. That starts the top of the 4th inning. Between innings, we had a special visitor here in the booth briefly. Sarah Vanderford's head coach in college talked about it early in the broadcast, the great Ricky Woodard.
Well, the great's a good word for it. It was great, also great to see her. I haven't seen her in a while, but she also just informed me that she'd been in Kauai for a while, for about a week. So I feel nothing but great for her right now, because she left the beauty of Hawaii to come back home and go back to work.
They're looking at Vanderford's dog, by the way, here in attendance tonight. He's been to a few softball games.
I was about to say, I bet so.
Yeah.
He feels right at home.
That's her college teammate with her dog, Carmen Bass. Throw back to first base, the pickoff attempt, back to second, and not in time. With Flaherty looking back at Lyndon Baptiste, thought she had that tag down. But Perry does advance to second base with no out.
Well, you almost got to wonder how to write this down, because the throw went off the first baseman's glove and hit the umpire. And then the first baseman does a really good job. Piper does a good job of picking it up and throwing on the run, and almost had a chance to get her at second base.
It's actually a pinch runner now at second who made that play. Jace Marie Fernandez from Mayaguez, Puerto Rico. Pinch running now at second. Popped up by Bracamonte in the infield. 1 out on the catch made by Kylie Sand.
Number 27, Adriana Ramirez.
Again, it is Slaughterbeck in the circle here for the Monarchs, looking for her first win as a professional player. That pitch is hit towards left for a base hit. Fernandez will stop at third. That'll put runners in the corners on the first hit of the night for Adriana Ramirez.
Ramirez doing a good job of putting a good swing on this pitch and driving it out to left field. Hit hard enough, and St. Clair breaking on it quick enough to get to it to prevent the runner from scoring from second. But you can see the hand speed and the bat speed on that ball that was in on her hands, and she was able to get that barrel to it in plenty of time.
The pitching for the Monarchs last week highlighted by Jaden Vickers' performance on Sunday. Complete game, struck out 9. What was remarkable about that was that the night before, in a 13-inning game, mind you, so look at Vickers in the dugout, Monarch pitching didn't have any strikeouts in 13 innings. She had 9 and 7.
Let's go back. 0 strikeouts in a 13-inning game.
None.
Do you know how many defensive plays
Were made? Yes.
were made in a 13? Well, 13 times 3. I mean, that's a lot.
So,
that's having to go get a lot of
36 outs recorded by the Monarchs in that game. They
Yeah.
didn't get any outs in the 13th. 36 outs recorded, no strikeouts. And only 2 errors committed, by the way. Think about all the outfield and infield chances you get.
I mean, that's every inning.
Yes.
I mean, that's every inning. I mean, as a defender, you love it because you're not bored. I mean, that's certainly for sure. You're not bored. I mean, you're on your toes the whole time. I mean, you're anticipating the whole night.
Destiny Brown batting, counter ball to strike. Brown, the 9-hole hitter. 0 for 1 with a ground out. 2 on. 1 away in the 4th. Adelitas trying to get on the board. See Fernandez at third base. Swing and a miss. A ball and 2 strikes. Adriana Ramirez at first.
Well, if you're Destiny Brown, Brad, you're trying to do everything you can to get this ball in play. And then, obviously, if you're the Monarchs, you're hoping it's hit hard enough in the infield for a possible double play.
Does she go around? On the appeal to third, Lyndon Baptiste says yes. So Brown strikes out. Huge out there for the Monarchs. And the second strikeout for Slaughterbeck.
When the pitch was off the edge of the plate, she got the barrel moving just far enough on the check swing. The third base umpire Thought that she went around. We're going to see a pinch runner.
Destiny Brown running in first base.
Lyndon Baptiste said she offered.
Bryant now batting.
And so Brown, who just struck out, is the pinch runner at first base. This is something kind of new to us. At the college level, the rule is if you're in the lineup, you cannot be a pinch runner. But the rules are different in WPF. This is the third time we've seen this now, where a player in the lineup, once they're no longer on the bases, can come into the game as a pinch runner, provided their spot of the order is far enough away. Popped up, should end the inning. In the infield, Flaherty makes the catch, and the Adelitas strand 2. They have left 7 on, and they trail the Monarchs by 8. We go to the bottom of the 4th inning. You're watching Women's Pro Fast Pitch on the official WPF YouTube channel. And as we head to the bottom of the 4th inning, a new pitcher to the game for the Adelitas, their 3rd of the night. It is Chloe Temples, who was just signed to the team 4 days ago, June 23rd. Temples out of Marietta, Florida, 3 years at BYU with the Cougars, who just wrapped up their first year in the Big 12. In her 3 seasons in Provo, over 380 strikeouts and more than 345 innings pitched. A number I know you like, Ty, more than 1 strikeout per inning.
I do. I think it's a great measure of the types of pitches and abilities at times. Tells you that there is a strikeout pitch involved. And we can see him talking about maybe the pinch runner going in, everybody getting in a better understanding as the season goes on the rules.
Yeah, it's Candace Fenton Bachbrader visiting with her plate umpire, Jenny Bouillon, with the lineup card out. And there, Jamie Juarez. She herself, no stranger to pro softball, by the way, played herself in the NPFL, National Pro Fast Pitch League, and has also played for the Venezuelan national team since 2016. So right now trying to dot all the I's and cross all the T's with the changes. I believe the only one officially made was in the circle, and the players that came out for pinch runners are now back into their positions. And there you see again Temples in the circle after Allie Light got the start. 2 innings for Lights. Inning of relief for Hanley. And now it is Temples. And this is her pro debut. She'll face Piper, Torres, and Hotz here in the 4th inning. Batters 4, 5, and 6.
Bottom of the 4th inning, leading off for the Monarchs, Lily, Dancing Machine Piper.
You know, I'm almost certain I just heard the public address announcer address Piper, Lily the Dancing Machine Piper. She came to the plate.
I did hear that.
I thought that was your nickname.
It is, and she stole it.
I do believe it's the first player we've heard a nickname for from the PA.
Yeah, I think, well, in between innings, she was dancing in between innings, enjoying the night and the game.
One ball, one strike. Good changeup thrown there by Temples. You know, that might be a fun thing for the league to help market these players a little bit more to join in on what Piper's doing here and get a nickname.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, I don't know that she had it before she got here tonight's game, but
don't recall hearing it last week.
yeah, and so she has gained a new nickname all in one night.
Takes one in the inner half. We're just missing the strike zone. The count evens 2-2 to Piper. And 0 for 2 tonight with a couple of flyouts. 8-0 Monarchs on top. 2 in the first, 2 in the seconds. 4 runs in the third inning. Swing and a miss, going after a high offering there on the rise ball from Temples, and Piper down on strikes.
Temples throwing 3 different pitches and starting it off with a changeup, as you mentioned earlier. Then she went to a left to right curveball, and then a rise ball at the end to finish her off on the at bat. It was a great looking pitch.
Not a bad way to get your pro career started in the circle, right?
And you know, look, it's got to be exciting for them. I mean, even though they've pitched college softball at a really high level, but it's still your first pro game. Right? You get to say, my first pro game, my first professional, you know, at bat that I threw against. I got a strikeout.
Got a pinch hitter up here for the Monarchs. It's Leywood Day, pinch hitting for Kelly Torres. Torres 2 for 2 with a run. Handing her bat off to Leywood Day from Fairfield, California. Played her college softball at Sacramento State, which is named as the Big Sky's Co-Player of the Year. Little pop up into foul territory. That's out of play. Count runs 0-2. So far, Leywood Day 3 for 9 as a pro with a double. First time in this game, the leadoff batter has not reached from the Monarchs. They put a lot of pressure on the pitching and the defense every inning so far. Skips in the dirt, a ball and 2 strikes. The 8 runs scoring on 9 hits so far for the Monarchs. For Hub City, scoreless on 3 hits and against 7 runners left on. Now, the big number of this game has been runners on base, how the two teams have done. Hub City 1 for 9, and the Texas Monarchs 6 for 13. But a good night for Coach Bachbrader's team.
You know, and Brant, there's got to be several of these players that are playing to stay in shape. And one, to get to play, and they love to play, but to stay in shape for maybe a national team, an Olympic team.
Yeah.
I mean, you got to figure that some of them have aspirations of trying to make those teams, and this is an opportunity for them to compete. One, get to play because they love to play, but then also maybe prepare for one of those teams.
Day is swing and a miss. Couple of strikeouts for Temples out of the bullpen for the Adelitas, and 2 outs here in the 4th. So a rice ball strikeout of Piper here, and Torres got her with a drop ball. Good off-speed pitch, round number 2. Another pinch hitter comes up in place of Emily Hott. This is Jenna Keene from Los Alamitos, California. Played at both Louisiana and Arizona. Does she go around? Yes, is Lyndon Baptiste, 0-1.
Well, Keene playing at 2 of the more historic programs in college softball.
Yeah.
Louisiana and Arizona, and a lot of different type championships, some national championships, conference championships, College World Series between both programs.
Keene with a fly ball to center, on the run. The catch not made by Bryan. Good effort, but just off the heel of her glove. And now Keene takes off for third. Throw there, not in time. So Keene winds up at third base as Bryan just couldn't quite make that play.
Well, it looked like she was going to be able to get there. The ball was hit just hard enough and to her left that she had to leave her feet and stretch out to try to make this catch. And it looked like the ball hit in her glove. And as she was going towards the ground, it looked like the ball bounces out of her glove. Brand, we'll get another look at it as Keene's on the move, on the swing. Yeah, the ball comes out just before she hit the ground.
So Keene is credited with a single there. Advanced to second on the throw, and then to third on an error. I got charged to Destiny Brown. Now Slaughterback is hitting in place of Halajan in the DH spot. Ball 1 outside. Slaughterback so far, 4 innings in the circle. Scoreless softball for her with 3 hits given up. And now batting for the first time tonight. On the ground, off the glove of Temple, but recovered nicely by Brocky. And the shortstop makes the play. For the first time tonight, the Monarchs held scoreless in a half inning. 4 innings in the books. We head to the 5th. Good debut for Chloe Temples. 8-0 Monarchs on top. We were just talking about Trinity Slaughterback, 4 innings in the circle for the Monarchs. Now she gives away to Sona Halajan, so the two have essentially switched places from pitcher to DH, vice versa. So Halajan now from DH to pitching in the circle. Did start one of the games last week against the Smoke, got roughed up a bit, giving up 5 runs in an inning in her starts. Looking for better for a better outing here this evening as we go to the top of the 5th inning. Her team a comfortable 8-0 lead. Coming up for the Adelitas out of Hub City, hitters 2, 3, and 4. Robledo, Brocky, and Munoz all due to hits. Flash foul, the count runs to a ball and a strike. Brant Freeman, Ty Harrington here with you on the official WPF YouTube channel. Be sure to go to the official Women's Pro Fast Pitch Instagram social media as well to check out the entire league schedule this year. And this week, 2 series happening. This one in San Marcos between Hub City and Texas, the Monarchs. The other between the Texas Smoke and the Coastal Bend Tidal Wave in Corpus Christi. As Robledo flies out to right to Fessler, who's into the game at right field for the first out. Sarah Fessler taking the place of Jada Kearney in right.
Number 10, McKenna Brock.
So perhaps when we saw Coach Bachbrader with the lineup card out, she's making a number of changes. I've seen some defensively as McKenna Brocky comes up and looks at a strike from Halajan.
Well, I think the season's so new. Everybody's still trying to figure out, who's who, and giving everybody opportunities and trying to find the combination. And as the season progresses, and trying to make sure everybody gets enough at bats to stay in shape and stay in rhythm with the game.
We can tell that Jenny Keene is also taken over in center field in place of Emily Hott. And there is Keene out playing in center. Saw quite a bit of her last week. 3 starts in the 4 games against the Smoke. Oh, 2. A ball and 2 strikes now from Halajan.
These coaches know who the players were before they got to the teams. Probably watched video of them, had reports, scouting reports, just different type of analytic reports. But to watch them with your own eyes and to see what they're really better at and what they're good. They know they're all good. It's just a matter of now getting them enough at bats or enough pitches or enough defensive opportunities for them to continue to get caught back up. Some of the seasons have been over for, if you were a college player, the seasons have been over for a little bit. Some of them probably a little more, that moved from one league to this one. It is a game of repetition. You have to be able to play it. You got to be out there taking the live ground balls, live fly balls, particularly seeing the pitcher, the velocity, the breaks, the different ways people, pitch you. And this game, you got to be able to do it just like, baseball's the same way. You got to have the same thing. You used to say professional sports would out-rep college sports, meaning they got more because they had all day, right? You didn't have class, I would say class interference, but I guess I did just say class interference, but you had class, and yet you weren't out there all day. In professional sports, you have, time to practice and play.
That's out for ball 4. 1 out walk to Brocky, and a base runner for Hub City here in the 5th inning.
Number 20, Daisy Munoz.
And again, talked about the WPF for merchandise, access to those social media channels and more. Log on to wprofastpitch.com. Daisy Munoz batting and looks at a strike from Halajan. With this also being professional softball, transactions made constantly. Shortly before the season began, on June 17th, a couple of players signed by the Adelitas, McKenna Brocky, who just had that walk, and Majo Valenzuela. And then 2 more additions made last Sunday, Temples and Bracamani. Popped up, and that's out of play for strike 2.
Well, all 4 teams in nice areas to live and to hang out, right? And if you're going to play and you know, live in a nice city and have an opportunity to play softball and nice stadiums, travel nice. There's a lot to it that if you're going to get a chance to continue your career, this would be, I mean, I'm impressed with the idea of you know, a lot of people who put in a ton of work get to continue their careers. I mean, it's exciting.
That ball line is short. Flaherty gloves it back to first in time for the double play. A double play ends the inning. 8-0 Monarchs on top. And that also ends the game as well on a double play turn by the Monarchs, their first this season. What a play by Flaherty, shortstop.
Well, I'll tell you what, it's a third good play she's made tonight, and then she gets a line drive hit right at her. Now watch this transition. Gets her foot in position as the line drive's being hit to her, Brant. Watch her maneuver her body, put her right foot down, left foot in front. It's all in one motion, and throw a missile over to first base to double her off.
Well, Ty, pleasure getting to work alongside you as we got a chance to cover the first game of the series.
I look forward to doing it again, Brent.
Absolutely. So again, the Monarchs win the game, and with that, their first winning streak as members of the WPF. They take the series opener by a final score of 8-0 in 5 innings. We'll have Game 2 of the series tomorrow for you here on the official WPF YouTube channel. First pitch at 7 o'clock. The winning pitcher, Trinity Slaughterbeck, her first win as a pro, and a big day at the plate as well for Sarah Baniford. A 4 RBI night to include a 2-run homer. So for Ty Harrington, I'm Brain Freeman saying so long from San Marcos, Texas. The final score in 5 innings. The Texas Monarchs 8, the Hub City Adelitas nothing. For more information on WPF, log on to WProFastPitch.com. This has been a presentation of WPF.